there was never a time that I would have believed that these chemical imbalances in my system were caused from the food that I was eating. It's Katerina, and all my life I never had anxiety or depression or any issues until probably the last 5 or 6 years. And there was never a time that I would have believed that these chemical imbalances in my system were caused from the food that I was eating. As a long-time vegetarian turned vegan, I believed, and my doctors told me, that I was eating the healthiest diet that I could possibly do, and there was never any indication whatsoever that my symptoms could have been caused from the food that I ate. But I switched to carnivore, and you would not believe the difference. I'm here today to just kind of do a just quick check-in. This isn't my normal, what I would normally do on you know, during the week or once a week. I would be doing a check-in and how my measurements are and my weight, and I do have that information and I will put that out. It's been advised to me by a lot of people that have been commenting on my videos to not focus on that type of stuff, and I'm trying very hard to not do so. I did not start the carnivore diet with the intention to lose weight, although that is a very, very happy side effect of it. I was hoping to heal a bunch of other stuff. I firmly believe that I was just going to be overweight for the rest of my life because nobody could figure out what was causing it. But what I wanted to do today, instead of that before and after video, is talk about anxiety and depression and how the carnivore diet has affected or changed those symptoms. So this is going to be kind of like a story time, and I'll try not to make it too long, but the story itself has a back to it. All my life growing up, I never had anxiety. I was never depressed. I was in the military. I was in the army. I didn't have anxiety then, and you would think that if it was going to show up, it would show up then. But it wasn't until about 5 or 6 years ago I started having symptoms of just really bleak, horrible depression. Just for no reason. Just stark miserableness. And it would come and go. I wanted to believe that it just came in cycles, and you know, that was just something that I would have to deal with. But it continually got worse over time, and I also started having a lot of social anxiety, and I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to be around people, and if I was, I felt very, very overwhelmed. I did seek out mental health care through the VA, and they immediately put me on antidepressants, Lexapro actually. And I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm in my pajamas. I'm getting ready to just calm down for the night. But they put me on Lexapro, and within just a couple days of a very low dose, I ended up in the ER having symptoms that they termed as serotonin syndrome. So long story short on that, I can't take antidepressants. So I just assumed that I was just going to have to deal or figure out how to deal with this type of stuff on my own. Never at any point in time did I ever consider that it was my diet or it was the food that I was eating. I just, you know, I was continually getting heavier and heavier and heavier and falling down this bleaker and bleaker and bleaker tunnel. So fast forward, you know, 6-7 months or so from the serotonin syndrome, I was having a panic attack, and embarrassingly enough, I didn't, again, have a reason. Nothing triggered it. I was in the bathroom. And I'm not going to TMI you here, but I was in the bathroom doing what you do in the bathroom. And it was not a traumatic experience, and I don't know why, but I had got, at that point in time, the worst panic attack that I have ever had. It was so bad that I was throwing up all over the place. I had this horrible racing heart. I had this feeling of just tingling everywhere. My head felt, it was bad. I don't even really want to talk about the symptoms because it takes me back there, and I just get this feeling in my stomach. But it was so bad that my kids, my poor kids. Had to call the ambulance, 911, and they came out and they told me that it was a panic attack. By the time they got out there and started checking all my vitals and everything, they were like, you just had a really bad panic attack. Do you want to take us to take you to the ER or anything like that? And I did. I wanted to. I didn't know what was going on. So when I got there to the ER, they listened to what I told them was going on, and then they proceeded to strip me down to a gown and throw me in a padded room. No phone, no nothing, no blanket, with this mattress-like thing on the floor. No, sitting in there for hours and hours. I didn't know what was going on. I had these symptoms where it felt like my heart was ramping up and racing and coming back down. I was terrified. I didn't know. I went there for help, and they treated me like, and I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't being combative or anything like that. I was just going in there telling them about these symptoms that I was having, and that was their protocol. It actually took, at the time, my husband was working out of state, and it took him, nobody had heard from me, nobody knew what was going on. The kids knew that I had gone to the hospital, so he called looking for me at the hospital, and it took him doing whatever it is in order for them to finally come in and see me and tell me that I was fine, that there was nothing wrong with me, and to let me leave this padded room so that I could go back home. I have no history whatsoever of any kind of anything like this. No violent tendencies, no nothing, literally nothing. I'm about as straight and narrow and as boring as anybody you might know. And I had no history of any kind of any of this stuff. And it was so appalling to me that this was how that they would treat me. And so I think that made my anxiety and social anxiety even worse, because I never wanted to leave the house. I was always afraid that I was going to have a panic attack or something in public, and that they were going to do that to me again. It was probably one of the most traumatizing experiences of my life, and I'm 50, so I've been around for a while. So to make this big long story just continually longer, I just became kind of a recluse. I stayed in my house for the most part. If I did go out, it was really, really bad. I couldn't be around a lot of people. Even trips to Walmart, we would go at like as soon as they opened their doors at 6 in the morning here, because I didn't want to be around people. And I was just living a life in fear, because I was afraid that they were going to do to me again, or that I would have one of these attacks out in public and somebody would think that there was something wrong with me. And I started to believe that maybe I was crazy. Literally, I did. It did eventually get a little bit better over the years, and I did start to cope a little bit more where I could go do things, but even then I would be very awkward, very uncomfortable, and I just would avoid situations that had a lot of people in them. Since starting the carnivore diet, though, I have noticed that I don't have a whole lot of any of those symptoms anymore. I have mentioned a couple times that my mom passed away recently, so I do have depression, but as I keep saying, it is situational and to be fully expected anyhow. But the anxiety is gone. It's gone. Completely gone. I go to Walmart in the busiest time of the day. I went to 2 open houses for the kids' school with screaming loud kids cram packed like sardines in a very hot school that apparently they hadn't turned the air conditioning on. And I was okay. I was fine. I was talking and laughing and joking with people, and everything was okay. And then another really great example is a couple days ago we were at Walmart, and our boys were very, very sick. And especially the youngest one, and he needed some medicine aside from the antibiotics and stuff that he had gotten, you know, for cough and congestion and stuff. And so we went to Walmart to get that, which was very important, and then some food items and things like that. So we had a cart full of stuff that we needed. And we get to the checkout, and I go and check out with my card, and it says that it can't process the transaction right now. And it didn't say that it was denied, it said it couldn't process it. So I thought, well, I don't know what's going on. So I transferred the money over to my husband's card so that he could just do it. It was no big deal. Did the same thing to him. It's busy in there. There's a lot of people, and it just kept happening over and over again. We tried customer service and a couple different other places, and we just kept getting the same error. When we called our bank, there was no hold on the cards, there was no fraud alerts, there was nothing, there was money in the account. They just said that it was their system was down, and there was no time frame on when it was going to be back up. So you know, we handled it. We came up with a different way to pay and all that kind of stuff, but not without, you know, being a little bit creative here and there. But regardless, when we left, Richard said to me that he was very proud of me, because as if it was something that I did, right? It was just a thing, but that he was very proud of me, because if that would have happened before, I would have been overly anxious, just very irritable, possibly voicing my displeasure, and just all around kind of just losing it. And he said that, you know, I mean, was it irritating? Sure. Or was it the end of the world? No. It was nothing that I could control, and it was just, it was what it was. And I just thought about that when we were leaving, and he mentioned that, because I have noticed that I have not been reacting to a lot of things that normally would set me off, or that I would be very agitated about. Now, mind you, that doesn't mean that I'm not getting angry or having, you know, being mad at somebody for doing something stupid or whatever. Of course, I still have that, like any normal human being would, but I'm not having those panic attacks and those anxiety issues. And I noticed these things started to change about the second week that I was on carnivore. It was along with the pain that I am no longer in. I just noticed one day that I just felt lighter. I just felt like a different person again, and that I could see, because it was always like there was this just haze or this blurriness always about me, and I don't know what the word is, but carnivore has changed that. And I'm just so ever so grateful, because I'm contemplating things like going on a cruise now, which are things that I used to like to do before, and I just wouldn't been able to even just fathom that. And the reason why all of this has come up is because there are a lot of really big changes and stressful things that we here as this family are about to be going through. And I don't want to get into like a lot of personal details, and I'm certainly not looking for any attention or anything like that. But I'm curious to see how the carnivore diet is going to help me cope with the very big, very real changes that are happening in the future. Sorry. I'm very curious how this newfound difference that I'm feeling and going through with how I'm handling anxiety and stuff and these types of situations is going to serve me in this very near future situation that we're going through. And again, like I said, I don't want to get into a whole lot of details, but you are going to be noticing moving boxes and things like that around in different scenarios, because just to put it just very simply as I can, myself and my youngest son are actually going to be moving out of here and out of Texas. We will be moving nearly across the country and starting over somewhere else. And I am going to continue to be blogging my journey the whole way, what kind of things I'm going to be eating when I'm traveling and all of that kind of stuff, and just carnivore has become such an integral part of everything for me. And the only reason why I'm mentioning these big changes is because you might notice them, and that way you don't have to ask, because you're going to know that it's because in the next few months I will be moving. But also it is very stressful, and it is a very hard time that my family is going through right now. And if I wasn't on carnivore right now, I'm not positive how I would be handling it, or if I even could. So I know this was a long video and maybe all not that interesting, me just telling you a story, but I just wanted to tell you how my anxiety has changed, and it's literally just from eating different food. My body feels better, my mind feels better, and I feel better. And there is, again, I said before, there is no person more just confounded than I am that this is the situation, because having been a vegan for so long, it just does not compute, you know. But anyways, I hope I didn't bore you to tears. And I really also wanted to say so much that I appreciate this community. I have had so many amazing people comment and offer their advice and just take the time out to even just, you know, wish me well or cheer me on, which is definitely what I needed, especially now. And I just wanted to say thank you. And from the bottom of my heart, I absolutely positively appreciate every one of you. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you are with me on this journey. And I'll say this as I do at the end of every video: if any of this resonates with you at all and you want to continue to follow my journey to wellness and possibly to a whole other side of the country, then stay tuned, subscribe, follow. Keep those comments coming. I'm trying very hard to get all of them answered, because it means so much to me deep down from every single one of you that has taken the time out to offer your advice or even your encouragement. So anyways, yeah, just subscribe if you want to follow along, and otherwise you have a great rest of your day.